After playing a bunch of Satisfactory because the 1.0 came out, I was feeling an itch for more automation games, and I thought I would try out Vectorio, partly because it sounds like Factorio, but mostly because there's a version you can play for free. And while I was playing, I thought to myself, this game is pretty fun, even though it's just a bunch of basic geometric shapes. And yeah, some of them are a bit more airplane styled, but even then, it's just a bunch of default regular squares, triangles, and circles. I had to ask myself, would this already pretty fun game be even better if it had a bit more theme? If it communicated a bit more character? There are many games that don't have anything more than geometric shapes to communicate gameplay. For example, Checkers is just circles and squares, classic Geometry Dash is squares and triangles, and Tetris is just falling blocks. Interestingly, in order for a game to be a game, the art/visual side doesn't really matter. Every game we play could be reduced to little more than geometric shapes and the gameplay would still be exactly the same, with the exception of a few where the art is baked into the gameplay. But most of the time, the art and visuals are only there to give us theme. It adds a level of immersion. Sure, I can imagine these ASCII characters are dwarfs building a fortress, but with some nice art, I don't have to work quite as hard to imagine the scenario. Yet at the same time, the game and gameplay is still exactly the same. So the question is, how important do you think this part of game design is? Because on one hand, it's not important at all. The game itself remains the same no matter what the art looks like. And on the other hand, it feels like it makes such a huge difference. Here's another example. The game I'm working on right now is an inverted roguelike where you lose abilities over time. Here's what it used to look like, and here's what it looks like now. Almost nothing has changed about the gameplay, but I feel like players will have far more motivation to fight through waves of killer robots than in fighting through waves of killer circles. Point being, I see a lot of indie games that are passed off as done, intentionally designed with geometric shapes. Perhaps the dev is thinking, hey, Geometry Dash pulled it off, why can't I? Personally, I think games would be better if we abandoned the practice of using basic geometric shapes on anything other than prototyping. I feel like creating a theme adds value that we shouldn't be neglecting. But at the same time, Vectorio is pretty fun, and is rated really well, so I'm not 100% sure. Could Vectorio have been even better if it had more theme, or would that have ruined it? Or is theme just a tool we use to hide bad game design? What do you think?